I swear to God, Death Battle has to be fucking trolling. Not because they put Ash against a Yu-Gi-Oh character, but they decided to put Ash against one of the strongest Yu-Gi-Oh characters to date. Like, it's actually fucking funny because Yugi outscales and out-hexes Ash in every single fucking category, and it's not even close. So yeah, I am here to provide scaling for Yami Yugi. This is going to be the definitive Yami Yugi scale. I know Von Key already made a video for Yami Yugi, but he kind of downplayed a hell of a lot. So I'm going to be making the definitive scale and how high he scales and why he is destroying Ash. Just for reference, we are not using any Arc 5 scans because Arc 5 is kind of canon as my book, as the cosmology in Arc 5 is hell of a lot different to the cosmology in the main world. For example, they have none of the realms inside of Arc 5 and only have the 4 main universes, which I believe that to be bullshit and non-canon. So we're not going to use the Arc 5 scaling when it comes to be scaling Yami Yugi. Also, as Key already talked about the infinite universe and the 5D, 6D prana realm and all that, I'm going to be explaining the outerversal meta of Yu-Gi-Oh! And how Yugi scales to outerversal. So first off, we can talk about the astral world and the barium world. Both of these worlds are made of high energies and they have no concept of metaphysics. Metaphysics also refers to abstract notions and abstract concepts like time and space, and because they have no concept of metaphysics, that would just mean that there's no time and space inside their world, which means they'll have no concept of time and space, meaning they are non-spatial and non-temporal. They've also been said to be non-physical or non-corporeal, considering that the astral world souls are stated to be in a transcendental state, and transcendental state can also mean non-physical as well, meaning that they are non-spatial, non-temporal, and non-physical as well. Astral also states that the astral world souls are ranked up souls, which means just a higher point of existence, and Kasuma backs this up in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal manga. Because of this will make the astral world outer, and because it's parallel to the Barian world, that would just make the Barian world outer as well. So that would just make the astral world and the Barian world both outerversal. This will scale the characters like Yuma, Astro, Nash, any of the Barian warriors, any of the people from Astral World, LFS, ETC, the Numeron Dragon. That will also make the numbers outerversal, considering that the numbers were created by the Numeron Dragon. This will go into a crucial part of Yugi scaling later, but now we're going to get to the Dual Monsters realm. Dark Magician Girl states that the Dual Monsters realm is created by abstract notions or by the thoughts of the people, making this a mental and abstract realm. And to back this up, the only way you can enter the Dual Monsters realm is via your consciousness. That will also make the Dual Monsters realm non-physical, and there's a statement in Dual Monsters where it says that there are some Dual Monsters realms beyond time, space, and dimensions. This will just further back up the fact that because it's non-physical, also be non-temporal and non-spatial as well. To back this up, there are also outerversal beings in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, but we're going to explain why they get to outer into another category. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to scale the Egyptian gods and why they get to outerversal. So of course, the Egyptian gods are stated in the manga by Ishizu to be the polarities of the universe. And polarities will also include spatial and non-spatial, or temporal or non-temporal. Non-temporal is a predicate, which means it's not bound by time, and it's basically negating the predicate of temporal, which means that it's bound by time. You can also do this for spatial and non-spatial as well. But because they're temporal and non-temporal and spatial and non-spatial, that'll mean they'll be beyond any spatial or temporal dimension. And of course, by doing this, that will also mean that you're beyond the concepts of time and space, which will also mean that you're above the concept of dimensionality as well. Not only that, they're the polarities of the universe, and they transcend the entire Dual Monsters realm, which of course is a non-physical, metaphysical realm. So that will just get the Egyptian gods to outerversal via type 2 transduality. According to CSAP, transcending duality on a conceptual scale, while also transcending a conceptual realm as well, can get you to outerversal. Why would this scale to things like Blue Eyes and Dark Magician? Well, of course, Blue Eyes would scale to the gods due to this one skin in ancient Egypt saying that Blue Eyes is equal to the gods in power. So that would just give Blue Eyes' AP to outerversal. This would also get Dark Magician outerversal, considering that Dark Magician is able to be Blue Eyes many times, including Malefic Blue Eyes. Malefic Blue Eyes is basically just Blue Eyes boosted with the power of evil. So that would just up the scaling. That would still be outerversal nonetheless, but that would just make Dark Magician outerversal as well. That will also upscale monsters like Karibo, considering Karibo was meant to take stronger attacks from stronger Malefic monsters that are stronger than Blue Eyes. The Egyptian god cards are the strongest dual monsters to date, which means they will be stronger than cards like Numeron, Dragon, all the other numbers. And of course, Horikari transcends all of them, considering that it's the fusion of all the gods. That will also mean that Horaxi and all the other god cards transcend the Dual Monsters realm, the Astral World, and the Burial World as well. This will also upscale cards like the Wicked Gods, who were meant to keep the Dual Monsters in check, but they were way too powerful, so they was locked up by Pegasus. Also, I forgot to mention, in the Dual Monsters realm, there are infinite possibilities and cosmologies and stories within each card. Of course, that's referring to the many infinite archetypes that are within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Dual Monsters cosmology, hence the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! The Chronicles anime. But we're gonna get to some of those monsters that reside inside the cosmology. For example, there are super dimensional monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! There's also things of metaphysical monsters, such as the Metaphys archetype. Yalbaz and Visaz cosmology has higher dimensions. So there are many monsters inside the Dual Monsters realm that scale to outer versal as well. And now you're wondering, why the hell would this scale to Yugi? Because even though there's all this outer versal BS, how in the hell is this about to scale to Yugi, an average fucking guy? Well, actually, no. These type of monsters will actually scale to every duelist that has them, considering that your AP and durability are tied to your dual monsters. In ancient Egypt, people used to use their soul energy and tie their AP and Dura to their own. And because he has cards like Dark Magician, Horikari, and the Gods, that would just simply scale Yugi to outer versal. For speed, I'm gonna give him a relevant speed because transcendent dimensionality will also mean the transcendent concept of speed as well. So overall, Yami Yugi is outer versal with relevant speeds, but we're not done yet. This section, I'm just really talking about the many different fucking ways that Ash could get wiped against Yugi, and the many ways that Yugi would just demolish Ash in every single fucking way. For example, Karibo is meant to take every fucking attack, and in fact, Karibo can take outer versal characters' attacks. That would just really scale Karibo's durability to outer versal. So that would mean that Karibo is literally just taking all his Pokemon's attacks. He also has cards like Mirror Force, which can reflect attacks. He has cards like Brain Control, and he can take over Pokemon or even Ash himself, which is actually fucking busted. Death Battle is also including his Season 0 feats, so that would include Yami games and penalty games, which Ash can't escape from. He can basically make Ash kill himself in the Yami game, which is actually fucking funny as fuck. And Yami can do all of this by sheer willpower alone, considering where he has plot and luck manipulation. Of course, the heart of the cards is basically his whole ass pull. He can basically draw any card he wants. There is no possible win rate that Ash can really have for this battle. There's also plenty of other hacks like go through, like his soul manipulation, his mind crush, but now we're not going to be doing any of that. I feel like this is enough things to show how absolutely fucked Ash Ketchum is, bro. So in general, yeah, Yugi's destroying, Ash is fucking cooked. And yeah, I'll see you in another video.